Oh, legend. Yeah. Rise up this morning, smile at the rising sun. 3 little birds beside my doorstep, having breakfast with Bob. Chee-woo. Thank you, Pancho Man. Yeah. Welcome back to Day 1 Breakfast with Bob, our Kona World Championship edition from beautiful Huggo's on the Rocks. My name is Bob Babbitt, brought to you by HOKA Fly Human Fly, Master Spas, Precision Fuel and Hydration, Crush Your Race Nutrition, Deboer, Outrigger, Kona Resort and Spa, Stay Longer, Save More, and of course our Challenge Athletes Foundation. We've been around 32 years. We raised $191 million and sent out over 52,000 grants to challenged athletes all over the world. Our next guest, only one of the greatest triathletes on the planet, number 1 in the Ironman Pro Series. She won the Ironman Pro Series last year. She's number 4 in the world. The great Kat Matthews.
Thank you, and thank you for coming, everyone. I really appreciate it.
You are so awesome. I love that. So 2 races that I really enjoyed watching this year. One, kicking off the season, Ironman Texas, where you won by 10 minutes and just had a 2:49 marathon. I think it took 15 minutes out of Taylor Knibb in the marathon. She ran like 3:04. You run 2:49. Starting the season that early and running that fast and going that fast, did you surprise yourself?
I was really happy with the overall triathlon performance in Texas. Yeah, it was a good start to the season. It's April, so you never know. You want it to be a good grounding, a good baseline for the rest of the year. But I think it was only 10 seconds faster than I ran 2 years ago. So the run wasn't the highlight for me. No. No. Okay. Well then this one won't be a highlight either. Okay. Ironman Hamburg. Well, I really want. It's just a phenomenal race. How often does somebody run 2:40 and not win the race, right? Oh, honestly, it broke me a little bit. I think I dropped a minute in the last half of a marathon, and still that wasn't good enough to win. So it was tough.
But one of those great races where you and Laura, 20 years from now, will still be talking about that. She runs 2:38. She'll still be talking about it. She runs 2:38, you run 2:40, and just sort of change perception about what women are going to be doing in these races. Because now it's once you start running 2:38, and next thing you know, someone's going to be running, in the mid to low 2:30s. It changes everything. How has the sport progressed so much just in this last couple of years?
Yeah, definitely. That race I was really happy with. The sort of background, I guess, is the year before in Hamburg where I had the disqualification for the race ranger / no overtake zone. I had said that week to my husband, I'm going to run a 2:42. So Hamburg had this sort of, this weird little goal of sort of fantasy run times in my head. And obviously everyone can say that before a race, but putting it together and then pulling it off in Hamburg, I was, on reflection after getting over the loss, I was really happy with that. I think the run times, there's an element of being confident and brave and seeing other women run fast, seeing Laura, yes, seeing Annie, seeing these women take it, by the horns and go for it. That makes me more brave and excited. But I think there's also just a, well, why not attitude to the women, maybe more so recently after COVID, perhaps. I don't know. There's so many factors in the last few years that I think there's more of a, let's effing try. Yes.
So I was doing a little, just looking back, and I was, so from 2019 to 2025, 40 races, 13 wins, 24 podiums. I mean, you are just so consistent. And has there been, obviously this is stuff that happens over time. Nothing happens overnight. But what changed? It's not like you weren't great before, but you've been consistently great for this last number of years.
Well, I think there's I always feel maybe a misconception. I only really got into the sport and pro sport, I guess, after COVID, really. So yes. I was competing in 2018, 2019 amateur, 2019 professional, but it's really only 2021. And then obviously we still had COVID. So 2022 is when racing was happening. And I think since then I've just been at the appropriate level to podium. And I guess it's more of I don't know. I pride myself in having the control and the composure during races that maybe is a military thing of, the physical effort is you got to get to the finish line and be ready to fight the battle. So it's more of a controlled boring way to race. And actually this last year I tried to race differently. I've tried to race more with my heart and just risk things. So I'm being less consistent in myself, but actually it's playing out really well. So we'll see how Kona goes.
So I look at World Championships in 2021, you get fourth at 70.3 Worlds, 2022, second at World Championship St. George, 2023, 70.3 World Championship second, 2024, 2 seconds, get Nice and New Zealand. And so the consistency and when you look at your bio overall, the one thing that's missing is a World Championship. You're here, you're fit, you're ready. Is this the year?
I think it would be easy to say what's missing is a World Championships title, but I think in my mind I've had to come away from that idea that is the goal.
Right.
As in, I desperately want to win a World Championship title for sure, but I have become so happy and confident in my daily ability to push myself and improve and just work towards a goal rather than the goal being the goal itself, the race. So it's more about this overall sort of purpose of what can I do for myself, but for everybody else around me to, I don't know, inspire health.
Right.
Rather than like, I want to be a world champion, which I do desperately. But there's a bigger purpose there.
There's a bigger purpose. So when you say there's a bigger purpose, besides the racing and training, how do you spread that message? Is it just through racing and training?
Sarcastic Instagram stories, I think. I don't know. It's a good question, and maybe I need to think about it more, and maybe you guys can tell me better, but I hope that it's just a realism of the ups and downs and the emotional challenges as well as the physical effort that you have to put into being your best self, that other people can perceive as something that they want to strive for. Right.
So when I look at last year in 2024, it's always difficult to try to balance, and you're talking about doing T100. Those are a little shorter distance races, and then at the same time you're trying to win Ironman World Championships. And the balance that you had last year, where you win in Ironman Texas, and you're in second at T100 San Francisco, third in London, and then second at Nice at the World Championship, second at the 70.3 World Championships. How do you look? That season to me looks damn perfect, right? It uses everything from the short to the long, consistent across the board, and having success.
Yeah, last year was really quite fun. We put together, Mark suggested a strategy for the year, and I was like, cool, okay, if you want. No, I was really up for it. But I think it was more about getting fit and just maintaining my health and fitness through the season rather than necessarily peaking. And because the Ironman World Champs in Nice didn't go as planned, I wasn't able to empty myself in the way I thought. So I was actually able to just continue to just stay fit and healthy and peak, perhaps you could say, in Taupo, which was a bit of a bizarre sort of way to start, finish the year. But this year it's actually been really fun to have two specific focuses, Texas being the first, that's our baseline, and then reset and go tolerate Hamburg and then build towards Kona.
And trying to, and the addition of the Ironman Pro Series has been awesome, right? It gives people reason to be racing. It makes the fields deeper, right? Is that something that when it first came out, because last year you did both, right? 100 and you see, last year was a big dollar year, right? So if anybody out here needs a loan, this is the person right here who can help you out, man. That was a big cash year.
I've got a very needy husband.
We have read that, actually, incredibly needy. So did you surprise yourself with the fact that you could be successful in both those series? It's so different, and every time you go to a starting line at one of those T100 races, it's like, oh, there's an Olympian, there's a world champion. I mean, it's a world championship field every time you go to the line.
Yes, and I guess you, arrogant cat, would say, well, World Championships that field is totally fine for me. So no, I wasn't surprised. After the calf tear at the start of the year in the first race in Miami, that's when I suddenly became very uncertain of how I was going to pull off the rest of the year, let alone 2 marathons coming up. So
I remember that. Yeah,
you're
not very happy that day.
I was not a happy bunny. But yeah, no, overall, yeah, it was gold, you know, it was gold standard, but it was the goal and it was achieved. It wasn't, you know, sadly anything more than that, because I didn't win, did I? I didn't win in Nice, so.
Like you said, you really didn't get into racing until, you know, COVID and after COVID. What race was it that told you, okay, I can be really good at this? This is something I could be one of the best in the world.
I think a little bit of an undershadowed race, actually. 2021 Tulsa Ironman was sort of May time, I think, and people was just sort of getting back into racing. And I actually got a 5-minute penalty. Again, everyone debates it, but I had just biked up to the group.
Yes.
3 minutes into them, and then I got the penalty. I wasn't sure what happened there, but anyway, I was 5 minutes and 1 second behind Daniela Rife at that race. So that was the race where I was like, oh, I'm actually quite competitive at this Ironman, racing against the best. So she probably doesn't know it, but yeah, that was a really inspiring race for me.
Well, and she just had that phenomenal race there, and you ran 2:49 there.
Yeah, honestly, out of nowhere. I didn't even have a goal. I didn't have anything. It started downhill, and obviously, so you go off super fast. And I decided the whole marathon, all I looked at was my cadence. And I just said, well, if I just keep 180 cadence, I'll be fine. And that's all I looked at for the whole marathon.
And it worked.
It really worked.
Well, and it's funny because when I look at Ironman UK, that in 2021, I was like, of course, that's a brutal marathon, but the 3:06. And when I look at Ironman Florida year before, 2:58, and then here comes 2:49. All right, it's like, oh, this is, maybe I'm different than I thought. Maybe I'm faster than I thought. And so
or maybe I just had the 5-minute rest, the penalty, you know? That was what everyone else said.
Oh, they said it was you got to sit in the tent and relax. We saw that before. One year, I think it was the 96, Luke van Lierde got a 3-minute penalty, and he had to sit. And then he ran a 2:41 marathon and broke the course record and won the race. We were like, so you got a benefit from that penalty, yes. So after this race, obviously, since you're leading the point series, I'm guessing this season goes on to November and Marbella.
Yes, and my best friend did remind me before this race, when I was having a bit of a mental sort of wobble. She's like, doesn't Marbella suit you better? And I was like, oh, yeah, maybe. So
it suits you better because
it's not Kona, and I've had one bad experience here.
Take me through the one bad experience you had here. Well, I remember one bad experience where you came and you had crashed beforehand and you had a neck brace on and couldn't race here.
Yes, and then I was fortunate enough to qualify again and come back 2 years ago for the women's only race.
Yes.
Where I had a really great swim, so happy, out on the bike, best possible situation, and about an hour in, the lights went out and I just completely KO'd, and I somehow managed to cycle up to Harvey thinking that was like me pushing through something that I needed to push through.
Yeah.
But I was looking for the white line on the side of the road, thinking if I just stay on the white line, I'll be safe. And so I had a combination, I think, on big reflection of some underlying illness, which blood tests afterwards suggested I had raised white blood cell markers and liver function, which is obviously quite important with carbohydrate utilization. But there was an element of psychology associated to that environment that I hadn't necessarily processed. And since then I have, as in 3 years ago when I came here immediately after I had a big accident, I think I associated a lot of the trauma with this environment, as I was sort of processing just days after I didn't really remember the accident. And so, you know, I was walking down the street 2 years ago ready to race, and yet I would just like burst into tears because I was scared for my life. It sounds a bit dramatic, but obviously I wasn't able to accept that at the time. But it's real. So after the DNF here, I grudgingly chatted to a psychiatrist, and we went through some EMDR, which is like a memory reprocessing theory,
yes,
or practice to try and reduce that irrationality of fear for my life, which sounds really dramatic. And I honestly, within weeks, I was able to look forward to being back in Kona, and now being back here, I can see how I wasn't quite in the right space to be here 2 years ago.
Now, are you still working with the same person?
No, it was a very short period
Oh,
of
really? So
care.
it was this one issue, got past it, and because your headspace seems like you're happy to be here, you love being here, and your training is going well here?
Yeah, really good. So I'm aware of that. I'm happy to talk about it. It's definitely part of my history, but right now I'm really happy to be here.
Good.
Training's gone really well. I have no worries really, except how you tolerate the heat and the climate here, and how you pace yourself, and how the dynamics will play out, and how the swim will go, and loads of worries. But other than that, I know I'm in control of my own personal performance, and I know I've put all the work in. So hopefully all of you guys as well, like, you've done the work, and this is the satisfaction of challenging yourself and getting out there and just seeing what you can do on that one specific day.
So when we look at the people we think potentially can win, obviously you're on that very short list, and Taylor Knibb is on that short list, and Lucy Charles Barkley is on that short list, and so potentially Solveig and Laura Phillip. You've raced Taylor. You've raced Laura. I'm not sure if you've raced Lucy this year, yes? No. So, I mean, when you look at those athletes, what makes them great?
I think what makes them great, what makes
What you great? What makes
us as a sort of cohort triathletes generally great is our ability to want to challenge ourselves, and being in the fortunate position of being a professional, like the girls you mentioned, we are able to really delve deep into what it is to sort of optimize and really challenge yourself on the limit. And I think that's probably where the biggest challenge that we all have is, like, where is your own sort of personal limit, whether it's the time that you want to spend doing the training, or whether it's the time you have to dedicate to other things in life. For the other professionals, I have so much respect for, because I know that it can become so quickly such an obsession, and you cross the line to the detriment to your mental health. So personally, I aspire to perform just as like they do.
Right.
To run a perfectly even split like Laura, and to swim like Lucy, but you got to play to your own strengths, I think.
Well, and to run like Kat.
Kind.
Right? Yeah.
The minor fade at the end.
No. Well, again, that was one of those. That Ironman Hamburg was really, really a special day, and took the women's race to another level. And I just think this race, what we just saw at the men, those 5-6 men off the bike together at Nice World Championships. There's really no reason that can't happen. I think maybe Lucy might be up a little bit, but there might be 5-6 people chasing that can potentially run her down.
Yes, I don't think there'll be a big group coming out of T2, but I think that there will be a congregation of multiple passes, hopefully.
Yes.
During that 10 to 30K point on the run.
Yes, there will. I love it. So how much do you go out on the course during training and go, okay, I'm going out to the Natural Energy Lab because I know when I go into the lab, you're sort of visualizing, this is where Lucy's going to be. This is potentially where Laura's going to be. Do you do that type of thing where you play that out in your head, or you just sort of play it by ear and see what happens?
Yeah, I actually have to try and hold myself back from doing that, because I do it a bit too much, I think.
Yeah.
I think I spent a few years just shouting in my own head, Palani, as I've been running up any hill. So I think there's, there's so-and-so's feet. I need to really push on now during a swim rep. So I find it hard to control those visualizations a little bit.
Yes.
Because, Energy Lab, it's not about chasing someone, I believe. It's about staying calm, staying composed, and fueling appropriately, because there's still a long way home.
It's definitely a long way home. What would it mean to you to win this race?
Probably my most hated question. What would it mean? It would mean a lot to me to be able to give back to the people who support me. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the biggest thing, is to share the success as an outcome with everybody who's put the effort into helping me, because that allows me to then perform. So it would be more about, that's just a bit of a cringe answer, giving back, than it would be like to be a world champion.
It would be a team victory. Everybody who's been there in your corner from the beginning.
I just know how happy it would make them, and that drives me.
Love that. How about a round of applause for the amazing Cat Matthews? You guys are the best.
Rise up this morning, smile at the rising sun, dreaming the birds beside my doorstep, singing sweet songs on breakfast with Bob. Woo!
Poncho Man, everybody.
That's all.
Nice.